Hi folks, I'm Suraj Moosad. We were discussing about fat on the last episode. Today's episode also we focus on fat because fat is actually it's a main problem for the current lifestyle. In fact, so today's topic is, does fat makes us fat? That's all. So whenever you hear about fat, means we relate fat with what? Obesity. People have loads of fat in the system, or fat on the arteries, or in the form of cholesterol or triglycerides, HDL, LDL, everything we just relate it. So in our notion, fat just goes into the body, makes us fat. That is bad for our system. So what we do, we try to eliminate the fat actually, according to the food pyramid also, reduce the fat. That's what always the people used to say. But let's crack it open what happens with the fat and with the other food. Okay. Our body, as we were explaining in the previous episode, whatever you ingest on your system, after utilizing, the body utilizes for the instant energy, it should be converted into the form of fat only. The body has to store in the form of fat only. So what the body does is, any food except the fiber and the protein, in fact, when you ingest with the protein, protein will be directly used by the amino acids are used for the repairing of the muscles or whatever the building purpose. And apart from that, and the reserve could store as fat also in the later stages. But apart from the protein and the fiber, the other food are a major quantity of the food is converted into fat only. So we try to cut down the fat and we try to have the carbs. What will happen when you take the carbohydrate? Actually, is it not converting it into fat and you are not becoming fat? Do you think so? Let's understand. In the olden days, when a person is doing the job of wood cutting, or suppose a person is continuously doing the job of farming, or any work of anything which is physical energy expenditure is needed, they will be continuously utilizing it. So whatever they eat it, like a 400 calorie meal of carbohydrate or anything, that will be utilized continuously throughout the day. At present, what we are doing exactly, we were having like a couple of parotas or a couple of idlis or doshas in the morning, and we just come immediately and sit in front of the computer or do sedentary kind of jobs, which is not too much of energy is not needed. So what the body has to do, the energy expenditure is very less. The body should not keep the glycogen or the sugar in the system bloodstream for a longer period of time. So the body has to convert it into some form of storage. So how the body stores again, as I told you, any food apart from protein or the fiber, it will be stored into the fat form. So with the help of whom, in fact, there comes the insulin. In fact, insulin actually, it's a storage, like it's just like working in a warehouse. It stores on the different part of the system. In fact, so insulin will be released into your bloodstream. This will be taken away and stores into the different part of the body, into the cells. In fact, so you had carbohydrate. What happened? It's also converted into fat and stored in your system. But what happens when you have the fat as energy? When you have fat, the fat won't trigger the insulin. There is no insulin sensitivity for the fat. In fact, suppose if you have fat in the form of cheese or avocado or anything like any meat or anything which is made of fat and the protein, it doesn't have much sugars, insulin sensitivity. So what happens is, the insulin will be lower during that time. So the body utilizes the ingested fat as well as the stored fat as well. So in the presence of the insulin hormone, the body cannot utilize the fat. That's why the body, when you take the carbohydrate, the body won't use the energy reserves from the fat. In the presence, suppose if you are ingesting a body with fat, the body utilizes that fat as energy and the reserved fat also as energy. That's why most of the time when a person is eating healthy fat, not I will, it's not every fat is healthy, I'm not saying about that one. When a person is eating a healthy, clean diet, which is clean fat, they will be able to reduce more fat than the person who is predominantly on carbohydrate based diet. So I hope you might have understood the basic logic behind whether the fat makes us fat or not. Until the next lesson, enjoy. Peace.